One of the lesser known changes, at least for now, in the June 30th update, was a significant buff to the FAL that makes it extremely overpowered. I wouldn't be surprised if they revert this change or at least step it back a bit, but for now we can enjoy a much more viable FAL in Modern Warfare and more importantly Warzone. When you sit down and actually start to compare the numbers, it absolutely seems broken, like Warzone time to kill beating multiplayer time to kill levels of broken. Stay tuned to find out and see what the best classes to use with this are. So the change adds an entirely new damage range. This will now do 78 to the upper chest, 105 to the head, and perhaps what I feel like has the biggest impact, the lower torso and limbs will now do 65 damage. This range extends out to about 19 meters. You can of course extend that out to 27 meters if you use the mono suppressor with the marksman barrel, which I highly suggest doing. This reflects a serious change to shots to kill and as a result time to kill in both Warzone and core multiplayer. Chest shots won't be changed in multiplayer, but limbs and lower torso are now a 2-shot kill out to this range as well, down from 3, and headshots turn into a 1-shot kill. Warzone, however, is the most affected because it drops the time to kill by quite a bit. It's easily the fastest killing weapon outside of 1-shot weapons. In Warzone, we assume an enemy has 3 plates, or 250 health total. Out to this range, the upper chest drops from a 5 to 4 shot, the limbs and lower torso 6 to 4, and headshots would result in a 3-shot kill, but you only need to hit 1 headshot and 2 upper chest shots to get that. Now you might understand why I said the lower torso and limb damage has the biggest impact. While a single headshot allows it to actually reduce the number of shots to kill to 3, you can hit anywhere on the body and get a 4-shot kill guaranteed when that used to be 6. Could you imagine if any other weapon became faster to kill by 2 shots? The theoretical rate of fire you can achieve on the FAL is around 500 RPM, but most people won't get there. It'll probably be somewhere in the 400 range. This is where the gun is only as good as the person using it. Maintaining a high rate of fire while aiming or moving is more difficult, but as you can see, it's more rewarding. A time to kill between 360 and 450 milliseconds if you are hitting that 400 to 500 rounds per minute. A headshot with 2 chest shots could mean between 240 and 300 milliseconds. That's entering core multiplayer times to kill. This is absolutely nuts. The MP7 drops down to around a 380 millisecond time to kill past the 22 meter range in multiplayer with a standard 100 health. The M4 is just over 200 milliseconds at close range. Now in the video, I jumped into a shipment custom game to test this damage out. I set the health to 250 and threw on one of my preferred FAL loadouts to use. As you can see, this is absolutely tearing through enemies with 250 health one after the other. Speaking of loadouts, let's move on to that part of the video. These are the loadouts that I prefer to use in Warzone. First up is what I like to use when the FAL is my primary weapon. I use the mono suppressor, marksman barrel, mini reflex, ranger foregrip, and stippled grip. Since this buff affects that first damage range, I do need a weapon for those really long range engagements, so I like to go with a sniper or the Bruin LMG, but I also occasionally still throw on the Growl since it's still very effective at long ranges. For my second loadout, sometimes I like to treat the FAL like an SMG, because that time to kill is so fast up close. I take off the reflex and ranger foregrip from the first class and throw on the 5mm laser and no stock attachment. This might seem odd, but no stock doesn't really add too much recoil to the FAL. It's capable and becomes very effective against MP7s and MP5s. Normally I don't like to use a laser visible to enemies for a close range weapon, but I feel like it's worth it in this situation. When your 2 weapons share ammo, you need to be careful and possibly throw the fully loaded perk on one of them as well. A Growl with a FAL are both going to use AR ammo, so it's easy to run out if you haven't been looting much or if you drop in straight to a loadout drop from the gulag, which happens often enough. Well, that's going to be the end of this video. I highly recommend giving the FAL another shot with this buff, and I'll see you next time.
Frag out!